Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's everything going?
Good.
Thanks for having me today. I'm Steve Shue. I'm County Executive of Anne Arundel County. Who knows what a county executive does? Who knows what a county executive is? Yes.
You're an executive of the county.
That's correct. What does that mean? That's very good. Is he an English major or a STEM major? What does a county executive do? What's the basic job? Any thoughts? Yes, sir.
Make sure the county's in line.
Yeah, kind of. That's it. I'll give you one more chance. Yes, sir. Yeah. Execute the law. That's the term executive refers to executing the orders of the legislative branch of government. So my job is to execute the law. So I enforce the law through the police department, other parts of county government. Effectively, the county executive job is the same as the job of mayor of a big city. So the city of Baltimore, the city of Annapolis, they have mayors, but since this is a county, we don't call them mayors. Other parts of the country may do that. I'll look into that. But the counties in Maryland have traditionally had their senior executive referred to as a county executive. So that's what I do. And I'm really glad to have a chance to meet with you guys today. The STEM program is so important, and it's great that all of you are participating in it. It's a lot of extra work, but the long-term benefits are so worth it. The direction our society is going these days, as I'm sure you've heard from your teachers many times, puts the highest value on people in the sciences, technology, computer sciences, and critical hard disciplines of those types that you guys are becoming expert in at a very high rate of speed. The GIS program, really exciting. And the program this year, I understand, had 50. We had 50 maps emerge out of the effort.
From the STEM program.
From the STEM program. It's really, really great. And I will tell you, I didn't appreciate it until I got into this job, how important GIS technology is to modern government and business for that matter. It's incredibly important for several reasons. One is the breadth of applicability to GIS technology, land use, public safety, transportation, electioneering, education. I mean, you name it, there is a GIS map that pertains to it. But not only the breadth of applicability, it's also just the depth of it, the amount of detail, the amount of knowledge you can gain from using GIS mapping technology. You can see visually and spatially how different things fit together, the relationships they have to one another. You can interpret data, analyze the data through GIS, and then ultimately come to conclusions. And even beyond just simple conclusions, you can literally project the future about so many different things using this technology. And once you've done all that, you're able to store it and retrieve it, which to a guy my age is really important, because I remember back when I was your age, there was basically no such thing. Whatever work you did in these areas, mapping and so forth, was good for the moment, but you pretty much had to do it all over again next time. There was no pulling it back up on a computer 5 years later and making a few tweaks and having it come back to life and be a useful tool. Those days, some of you older folks probably remember the old days. It wasn't like it is now. So for all of those reasons, GIS technology is changing everything about the way we do business in government. And I'm actually, in a way, living proof of that. On my way out the door, where did I put it? On my way out the door, I decided to look on my wall and then in the little closet I have in my office where I keep some of these maps. And I counted the maps that I have in my office that I use all the time. Sewer map, water map, zoning map, land use map, county council district maps, major roads and towns map, police district maps, government-owned land map, that one's interesting, legislative districts map, congressional districts maps, and Annapolis wards map. I have 11 maps that I use all the time, and I brought my favorite one with me today. So I want you guys, who can guess, of the 11 maps I just mentioned, which map do you think is the one that I use the most? I already got you. Somebody else? Yes?
District map.
Good guess. Nope. Yes, ma'am. Nope, not district. I use that a fair amount, but not the most. Yes?
The government
I've been using that a lot lately because it's a hot potato. She said the government-owned map, and that's a really good guess. I was going to bring that because I wanted to show it to you. That map, I couldn't believe it. Did you prepare that map for me yourself?
Probably Public Works did.
Okay. That map is so incredible.
Planning and zoning. Sorry.
Planning and zoning? Okay. You guys did that map. It was, ever since I took office, I've been finding out about more and more property that Anne Arundel County or the state of Maryland owns. Every time I turn around, there's some piece of property that comes to my attention that Anne Arundel County owns, and I had no idea we owned it. I mean, I know we own Downs Park or Quiet Waters Park, Kinder Park, those of you over in that area, but I know some of the things we own, but there are so many others. So I said, listen, can you pull together a GIS map for me and show me everything we own? And it is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I should have brought it, but Anne Arundel County owns so much of this county that it's astounding. And the vast majority of our holdings are of absolutely no use to the county whatsoever. So you might ask, why do you own them? Because I've been asking that same question. And you know what the answer is? Nobody knows. We own all this land, but nobody knows what we're going to do with it or why we even own it. A lot of it was just granted to the county for various reasons. Some of it was seized by the county because somebody didn't pay their taxes, that sort of thing, so we just kind of own it. Other people wanted land to be preserved as open space and not be developed, so they just sort of gave it to the county, and now all of a sudden we own all this stuff and we don't even know what we've got. So we're in the middle of inventory. Thanks to that GIS map, we're now in the process of inventorying every piece of land that we own, and I have asked the relevant departments of county government to tell me what they intend to do with each and every one of those properties. And if they don't come up with a good plan for each property, we're gonna sell it, because there's no reason why county government should be tying up people's tax money, your parents' tax money, and holding land for absolutely no reason. We should send that money back to the taxpayer where it belongs if we can't put it to good use. So just a little example of how GIS maps help out. So back to the question, I'll give you one more guess. What map do I use the most? You have a guess? What do you think? Congressional one, that's a good guess. I'll certainly start using that a lot more next year because next year's a congressional election. I'll tell you what it is, I brought it. It is the zoning map of Anne Arundel County. This is the zoning map. Now, zoning, what zoning does is it determines how land will be used in a jurisdiction, in a county or city. And each of the different colors corresponds to a different zoning classification. So we have, for example, areas that are zoned rural agricultural. That's farms. We have areas that are zoned residential. And within residential, we have R1, R2, R10, R15, R22. All these different categories that determine how many units you can build per acre. So in an R2, you can build 2 houses per acre, that's it. In R22, you can build townhouses or small apartment building kind of thing. That we determine that through this GIS map. Then we have our commercial areas. That's where you'll see your shopping centers, shoe stores, dry cleaners, that sort of thing. you can't put one of those in a residential area. You can only put that kind of commercial property on commercially zoned land. And then there's the industrial areas. There are lots of other classifications. And in the grandest scheme, in the grandest sense, this map determines how we are going to manage overall land use in this county. Have you ever wondered why? You guys ever wonder why up here in the North County area, Ferndale, Linthicum, Glen Burnie, Herondale, that area is very heavily developed, lots of homes, lots of businesses. But down here in southern Anne Arundel County, Davidsonville, over here in Millersville, places like that, you have very little in the way of homes, very few homes, very little business. It's almost all green open space. You ever wonder why that is? It's because of this map. This map reflects the basic land use strategy of this county, which is that our industry and most residences are going to be clustered in this area of the county, the northwest, the north, and the northeast part of the county. That's it. Everything from here down, we have basically decided is going to remain rural. And when you get into these rural communities, the only places where you can easily build a home or establish a business are in some of these more developed coastal communities, Shadyside, Deal, Edgewater, Highland Beach, places like that. But other than that, this whole middle part of the county, starting up here in Millersville, going through Crownsville, down here through Davidsonville, and on into all of South County, all the way down to Deal, is basically rural. And it's all thanks to GIS. And that's important because if it weren't for zoning and it weren't for this GIS map, probably this entire county would end up getting paved over in no time because we're so close to Washington and DC. We live in one of the most desirable areas in the entire world. People all over the world want to come here, live here, start businesses here, have their boats here, play here, hang out. But if we just sort of threw out the zoning map and just let people do whatever the heck they wanted, this would be gone in a heartbeat. That would all be paved over and it would be nothing but houses. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. At this point, I wanted to, I guess, go to the awards, right? We have some awards for the great work you guys did. Have you guys seen the maps in the Arundel Center? Have they been over there?
They were in the Arundel Center and here.
Okay, so
the
you've
same copy of
seen
the maps.
all these STEM maps. They're absolutely fabulous. I'm just astounded at the work that you guys have done. And as with lots of things, we have some winners. It says, the Anne Arundel County, Maryland GIS Day 2015 certificate is awarded to, this is for third place, student map competition, Nathan Houchins. Is Nathan here?
He's not here.
Oh, he's one of the...
Take it for me.
Okay. I think several of the winners are not here today because of conflicts. All right, the second place student map competition winner is Ryan McClellan. All right. Congratulations, Ryan. What was your map?
It was the one up there that was the effect of land cover on the human footprint.
Oh, fantastic. Nice job.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And then first place, I don't think is here, right? Goes to Xavier Shirley. So we'll get that delivered as soon as possible. Yeah, great news. All right.
These are the staff maps,
Oh, staff maps. Okay.
and they're up here.
So we have third place for the employee map competition. Which one is that?
It's the farthest one on the right.
Okay. Oh, I saw this one in the Arundel Center. This is the Emerald Ash Borer. That's an interesting map and a very nasty bug. The prize goes to Bud Reeves. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, second place, so is that this one here? Using GIS tools to locate and calculate developable vacant lands inside specific zoning categories in Anne Arundel County. So very much what we were just, in fact, that's the zoning map. There's our zoning map. This is the second place. It goes to Saiful Alam. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice work. All right, drum roll, please. All right, the grand prize, first place employee map competition goes to John Keniston. Oral rabies? Oral rabies, good work. None of us wants rabies. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Do you want to do questions or anything while I'm here?
It's really up to you.
I-
Would
you know-
anybody have any questions?
You guys have any questions, concerns, anything on your mind? This is a chance to sound off, say what you care about, concerned about. Somebody. Oh, she just raised her hand. What's on your mind? You're concerned about stretching? Yeah, you're right. I'm glad I did that. Yes, sir. Well, I have 11 in my office. I've been in office now 11 months. So basically, I've been asking somebody, planning and zoning or DPW or somebody, for a new map about once a month. I use them all the time. Every day or two, I have to use a map for something. Somebody will call me up and they'll say, hey, I live on a rural property. I really want the sewer and water extended to my property. And I'll say, well, how far away are you from where the sewer and water end? Oh, it's really close. It's like 20 feet. And so I'll say, what's your address? And so then I'll go to the map and I'll look at it and I'll find out it's 7 miles. And instead of costing a little teeny bit of money, it would cost $1 million, millions of dollars to get this person onto the water and sewer. And I tell them, that's a little bit taller order than you think of. So I use the water and sewer all the time. Somebody mentioned the congressional maps. Electoral maps are really helpful because I have to interact all the time with other elected officials at different levels of government. Sometimes I have to work with the Annapolis alderman, or with the Anne Arundel County councilman, or with state senators or delegates, or with the congressman. So somebody will call me up and they'll say, I have a problem. And they'll say, I have a problem with, police coverage in my community. The police are ignoring everybody in my community, we've called over and over again about this problem, and the police are not responding the way we want them to. Okay, well, where do you live? They tell me where they live. I go to the map. I know exactly the police captain to call because we have a GIS map that shows exactly which police district is responsible for each community. So I use that one all the time. And as I mentioned earlier, with election and going back to the elected officials, sometimes things that I'm called about don't pertain to Anne Arundel County government. It might be a federal issue. Somebody will call up and say, my son has been deployed to Iraq, and I'm really concerned about getting some information about his deployment from the Department of Defense, and they're not being very responsive to me. So I have to, where do you live? So they tell me where they live. That tells me which congressman or congresswoman represents that constituent. And then I get a hold of the congressman, and he or she follows up. So I use the maps all the time for all kinds of things. They're amazing, amazing tools. And they are a creature, they are purely a function of modern technology, of the technology of the last 20 years that allows us to do so much more than we could do 30, 40 years ago. So good question. Yes?
On average, how hard is your job?
Oh, it's incredibly hard. Nobody could do it except me.
Because, it sounds hard because you're always saying that you have to go and find on the map. And, like me, I don't think I could deal with those people asking me these questions. So I'm just wondering.
Well, I love my job. My job is challenging, but it's a lot of fun. It's half in the office and half out of the office. The in the office part is meeting with other government officials or with constituents who come in with problems and concerns. And I like solving problems. So for me, That's a great way to spend, half my day. The other half of my day, I'm out meeting with groups like you guys. Tonight I'm presenting to a group of homeowners in the Pasadena area, and they want an update on what's going on with county government these days. So I'm going to just give them a general update on county government. I enjoy meeting with those groups. And I also, I'm a political person, obviously. I was elected to this office, and I came in with a very definite agenda. My agenda is to reduce taxes, improve the schools, improve public safety, make government more efficient, and clean up the waterways. Those are my big five. And it's, for me, an incredible opportunity and a true blessing to be able to actually be in a position of authority that lets me advance policies that I think are so important for this county. It's like a dream come true. So I wouldn't call it an easy job, but if you can read a map, you can do my job. No question. You guys can all read maps. Yes, sir?
Is there anything planned for all that vacant land?
Well, we're going through the process of taking inventory of it. It's hundreds and hundreds of parcels. You can't believe this map. I should have brought it. But take the map of Anne Arundel County and just put hundreds of little speckles all over it. Some of them are big spots. The big spots are major parks. We have several regional parks like Quiet Waters Park. You guys are from Glen Burnie High, Northeast. Where all are you from? South River. And North County. Okay, so the closest big park to the South County folks is Quiet Waters Park. You guys might visit that park once in a while. And then for those of you in the North County, maybe you visit Kinder Park. Those are the big, large chunks of land that Anne Arundel County owns. We also own a very major parcel, right here in the middle. You guys ever heard of the dairy farm? You ever visited the dairy farm where the big corn maze is every Halloween? Yeah, isn't that cool? All right, well, that's right here. And we own a lot of this green area here, the county owns. And this big giant thing here, that's actually owned by the federal government. This is the Patuxent Wildlife Preserve. It's a gigantic natural park. You can go in there, but there's very little in the way of roads. You can hike through it, that kind of thing. But this is sort of the way Anne Arundel County was 400 years ago before the area was settled. This is what it looked like in here if you ever want to go visit it, Patuxent Wildlife Refuge. And then other than those big splotches, it's hundreds of little speckles all over the whole county. So the game plan is to take an inventory of all those little speckles. I'm getting an address on each of them, what the use of it is, if any. If there is a use, is it a good one? If it's a good one, we're going to keep it. If it's a bad one, we're going to surplus it. If there is not a use for it right now, what potential use could there be? If no one in county government can identify a worthwhile use, we're going to sell it. We call that surplusing. We're going to surplus it or sell it off. And if there is a good use, then we're going to move quickly towards converting it to whatever it's not doing now to what it's supposed to be doing. So that's kind of the game plan. It's going to take several years. It's one of those long-term projects that I'll probably be working on for 5 or 7 years. It's that big an undertaking. I have time for one more. Yes, ma'am.
You said you want to improve schools.
Yes.
You can shorten our hours and give us less days to go.
Okay, so she wants to know about my plan to improve schools and wants to know if it includes shortening the workday and adding some vacations maybe, and maybe pizza every day for lunch.
We already have that.
Oh, yeah, I got that. He's up for that. Yeah, my game plan for school improvement is, what grades are you guys in? Ninth. So you just started high school. Okay. The biggest problem with Anne Arundel County Public Schools, in my opinion, is that our high schools have gotten too big. They are huge. North County is almost 2,000 students. Did you guys say you're at South River or Southern?
South River, we're over 2,000.
All right, so South River is way over 2,000. Northern's over 2,000. Chesapeake is getting close to 2,000. Northeast is around 2,000. Severna Park. Have you guys seen the new Severna Park High School? Huge. It's the biggest building I've ever seen short of the Pentagon. It's so big. I mean, I don't know how anybody's going to get anything done in there. Our high schools in Anne Arundel County are among the largest average size in the United States. They are the largest in Maryland by far. They're huge. And it's because we haven't built a high school, an incrementally new high school, since 1982. Like Severna Park's just a replacement. It's not an additional school. We haven't built an additional new school since 1982. That's when I got out of college, and I'm old. So it's a long time ago, and the schools have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. It's because there wasn't the political will or the money or something, I don't know what, to build more but smaller high schools. Well, we're changing that. So my big thing is not shortening the hours, and I'm sorry about that, but we are going to be accelerating school construction and building smaller neighborhood schools. We will be building a school out in the western part of the county in the Crofton area.
We've been saying that for years.
Well, now we're doing it. And it's going to be, we're going to break ground on it in about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. So it's going to be a much smaller school than Severna Park High School, and that's going to dramatically decrease the size of South River.
Because a lot of ours.
Right, because right now South River, half the Crofton kids go to South River, and the other half of the Crofton kids go to Arundel. So we're going to get all the Crofton kids back together in their own school and get them out of your school and get them out of Arundel and bring the size of Arundel down. We're also going to be building a school out in Fort Meade. That's our very fast-growing area. And we're going to be splitting up Old Mill. How many people have visited Old Mill? Can you believe that school?
I got lost.
She got lost. Everybody gets lost in there. I mean, there's kids who walked in there 5 years ago and nobody's seen them since. It's the school. I think there are over 4,000 kids in that school, in that building, because you have a giant high school and 2 middle schools all under the same roof with no walls. It's an open classroom school. It's crazy. So we received county council approval this past summer to close that down, and we're going to build 2 new high schools to replace it, 2 new middle schools to replace the middle schools, and bring them both down to much smaller size. Last question.
Are you going to be doing anything in regards to Meade High School, where you're going to be separating more of the children that live on base and the children that are coming in, being bused in from off base?
Yes.
I live there.
Nope, you just hit on one of the other big problems. It all feeds into the same issue. Meade is the biggest high school in the county. Meade, I think, has just been given authorization to go to 2,600 students. 2,600 students in one school. So in our 10-year plan, this one's going to be a little further out than Crofton or Old Mill, but within the next 10 years, we will begin the process of building a high school out in the Fort Meade area toward Maryland City and Russet. Okay, so let's see. This is Fort Meade right here.
Yes.
Meade High School is somewhere about here. And Fort Meade High School serves both on-base students and then students in the surrounding communities. What is going to have to happen is we need to build a smaller high school over on this side of Fort Meade near Maryland City and Russet, which is this upper left corner of Anne Arundel County, and kind of bleed off, a third or a half of the kids that are currently going to Meade High.
Sir, I think we're going to have to break because the
Okay.
buses are here.
Oh, okay. All right.
So sorry for
Thanks,
all the
everybody.
questions. Thank you so
Keep up the good
much.
work. Nice talking to you.